these agencies were hiring these candidates but were not paying them properly. Sometimes because, of course, staffing agency is also not always right. Government did not thoroughly evaluated where the problem lies and what should be done.
You said after the petition, the government, the Ontario government or the Minister David Pichny, they never listened these concerns?
Never. Employers select the candidate. If employer selects the candidate, they pay the hiring charges or the service charges to the recruiter, which is somewhere between 15 to 35%.
We have heard that many of time the employees, they were not being paid on time.
Saving the employees from exploitation.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that has not happened. Tells the staffing company, we just don't want this person from next day. Staffing company cannot do anything. The agency have to say no to the employee.
In year 2024, Ontario government brought a new bill which is called Recruiter Licensing Law. That is a law now in Ontario. So what is this law? Because there were many employment agencies across Ontario, those who were misusing the system. So Ontario government then brought this law which is called the Recruiter Licensing Law. What is that? We have one of the speaker with us, Shailja Pranjal, who herself is a recruiter. We will ask her what are the benefits of this law or what are the loopholes in this laws. Shailja ji, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Nitin ji. So I would be happy to talk about it.
So starting with your introduction, please.
I am Shailja Pranjal. I have been a recruiter for very long. In my personal ethics and spirit, I love when people get the job. So this was my dream project of opening a recruiting firm where I can help people getting the job. I set up an incorporation with that dream, and the moment I was about to raise my first invoice, this law came. I couldn't afford it and I had to shut it down in the beginning.
So Shailja ji, there were many loopholes in the employment agencies because what happened that employment agencies used to hire the people, workforce, and many of the times they were not paying to their employees. They were paying cash. They were just taking out the big chunk out of employer-employee relationship. The recruiters were in between, but they were misusing the system. That's the reason the government brought the law. So is that law is effective now?
So
before that, let us know like why it was required, the law was required, what was happening before in this scenario.
So I would say that yes, this was being misused. We have a lot of new workers, immigrant workers who have no clue about how the system works in Canada. These agencies were hiring these candidates but were not paying them properly. Sometimes because, of course, staffing agency is also not always right, but many a times the reasons have been that they were not getting their invoices paid on time. And they were not paying. End result, lot of complaints went to the government, and that was the reason that government took this step. But while taking this step, government did not thoroughly evaluated where the problem lies and what should be done. So this is a blanket policy which is covering a lot of recruiters as well as staffing agencies. I would say recruiters have nothing to do in this. Recruiters are the people who only forward the candidature to the employers. Employers select the candidate. If employer selects the candidate, they pay the hiring charges or the service charges to the recruiter, which is somewhere between 15 to 35%, and that's all. There are other clauses in the agreement that if the candidate leaves, then recruiting agency gives the replacement free of cost. So these are other things which have nothing to do with these kind of issues. This issue was really hitting in the staffing area, staffing firm. What is staffing firm? So when a person joins an employer and the staffing firm forwards that candidate to the employer, but employer selects the candidate, but they are getting paid by the staffing firm. So
Yes.
how staffing firm does it? Staffing firm takes the attendance of the employee, gets the approval of attendance from the employer, and whatever working hours are there, staffing firm pays the salary to the candidate directly from their side.
Yes.
Employers, and then on the other hand, whatever they pay to the employee, other costs, including rest everything, all the costs, staffing agency raises the invoice to the employer. Employer has to pay them the money. So this is a kind of money rotation which has to happen timely.
So is there any time frame that employer has to pay within 35 days to the staffing agency so that staffing agency can pay to the employee?
Mostly the agreement have these terms mutually agreed, which is somewhere between 30 to 45 days. But it's not always which happens. Two things usually happen. One, employers, there are some very big employers, they have 10-15 people in their finance department only. So the approval process takes so long that the staffing agency gets that money after 3 months, 4 months also.
Okay.
Another thing is sometimes there is a miscommunication gap. Employer does not approve the working hours of the employee. Staffing firm back and forth, keeps on dealing with the issue that and try to prove that how many hours the employee worked is something which has to be paid. If employer doesn't approve that, they deduct the money and pay rest of the invoice. So at the end, staffing firm paid the candidate, but haven't got full money from the employer. If this keeps on happening on regular basis, the staffing firm exhausts with their buffer money.
So we have heard that many of time the employees, they were not being paid on time either by the staffing agencies or by the employer, because the issue here in Ontario or Canada is many times the employer, when they hire the employee directly, and what has happened, example, a receptionist in the office, who is working Monday to Friday, 5 days a week, 9 to 5 job, means full time. But employer, what they are doing, they are asking this employee to bill us as a self-employed, means you will get a T4A, not the T4.
Correct.
Means you are a self-employed working full-time using the company's resources of furniture, of the computer, or all the resources. But treating the employee as a self-employed, this is not only in the trucking industry, which is called Driver Inc. This is across the private small businesses, many of them they do a payroll, they give full benefits, but much of the people they shortcut this thing, they save the taxes. So, and the staffing agencies are also doing the same. That's the reason government brought the bill, this law for the staffing agencies. But other side, employers, are they not bound by the law?
There is no law to bind the employers for these things, but there should be a law. Employers usually take it very easy. There are laws that we have to pay the salary on time. If we delay that, there are compliances, but not all the employers do that. So there should be a law which should bind the employers on these kind of issues, which is nowhere there.
Okay, now tell us about this law. So what are the things which needs to be fixed? Did you ever approach to Minister of Labour, David Picheny, or any other minister in this regard?
Frankly speaking, this was like a dream shattered, and I lost all the hopes that 2,000 recruiters, small business recruiters or aspirants filed the petition through change.org, and there was no outcome. So I kind of lost hope, so I did not take any step.
Okay, so what do you think, what needs to be changed in this law?
First thing is that recruiters have nothing to do with this. This should completely be removed from the recruiting part. If you are only providing the candidates to the employer, and employers are selecting them and hiring them directly, there is nothing which needed to be done with the recruiters. This policy has nothing to do with them.
Okay.
Now let's move to the staffing firm. Of course, this policy is something which should be there, but along with 25,000 irrevocable line of credit for the staffing company, there should be similar kind of amount or maybe more equally for the employer. So every agreement which happens between an employer and a staffing agency should have two security deposit, one for the employer and second for the staffing agency, so that if staffing agency does not get their invoices paid on time and or properly compensated with the interest, then staffing agency can file a complaint or suit to the ministry. That irrevocable line of credit which employer provides, that can be the source to compensate staffing agency for these kind of money gaps or invoice delays.
Okay. So you said after the petition, the government, the Ontario government or the Minister David Pichny, they never listened these concerns?
Never.
So they must be aware of these concerns. If you reach out to them, they might hear this, like these are the concerns, if it can be addressed properly.
You are very right. I think almost all the recruiters should take this step and write to the ministry. I am not sure how much it will be effective, because I see that employers are big giants mostly in this. Now, why employers do not want to get into these direct hiring and they go through the staffing firm? If we understand this, employers do not want to pay the benefit. Employers do not want to take the accountability of litigation. If employer does wrong dismissal, they do not want to take the accountability.
Okay.
So they are, of course, I'm not sure how government will support these small businesses when it comes to big employers.
Okay. So Shailja, because government brought this bill to fix the system, because there were, as I mentioned before, that to fix the system because there were misusing the system between employer, staffing agency and the employee. The system had loopholes. That's the reason this law was introduced or brought in. What are the benefits of this law? Because you already told us that there are loopholes which government needs to look into this and fix further to safeguard the recruiters. So what are the things which got improved with this so far?
Ideally, the improvement, the effective improvement should have been about saving the employees from exploitation.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that has not happened.
So you are saying that employees are getting exploited
Even now.
by employers?
Even now by employers, and if the employer tells the staffing company, we just don't want this person from next day, staffing company cannot do anything. The agency have to say no to the employee.
Okay.
Now there are some other rules that within 90 days if you dismiss an employee, you do not have to pay any severance. So that's an advantage. The employee gets nothing, just an information that next morning they cannot come to the work.
Okay. So many of the employees, they are not getting benefits because they are being hired as a self-employed.
Yes.
So their benefits are gone.
Yes, even if they are hired on T4 by these staffing agencies, the benefits are not there because contract job usually do not have benefits.
Okay. So what is your message to the Ontario government, to the Premier Ford or to the Minister of Labour, David Pichny? What is your message?
So I would like to make a request that review the policy, revisit the policy, make a detailed policy. One size does not fit all. This is a similar kind of situation. For the economy, for the economic growth of the country, it is very important that we need to remove these kind of barriers as much as possible. Right now, the situations between US, Canada and the world, we just have to focus on the economic growth of Canada. So if they can revisit the policy.
So how much is the fees for the recruiter, yearly fees or any renewal fees?
Yes, 750 is the licensing fees initially, which I feel may be okay because government want to review and document each and every business. That may be fair, that sounds may be fair, but when it comes to renewal every year, I do not see any logic in that renewal fees every year.
What is the renewal fee?
750 every year, even if you're not earning.
And there is a security bond also something?
Yes, security bond is 25,000, which you can pay directly or you can pay through your line of credit from the bank. But that there is a catch. There is a list of insurance agency listed by the government. You have to go to the insurance agency. They will give the document based on your security deposit, and then you go. So the situation is so complicated. A simple person who just want to earn and contribute to the economic growth simply steps forward, seeing this as such a complicated system.
So being a small recruiter, you found that there are still needs to be fixed in this law.
Yes.
And employees are getting exploited by the employers a big time.
Yes.
And those all things need to be fixed, and accountability comes to the Minister Pitchner.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Shalvi.
Thank you.